What's up, Achievers? Welcome to today's 10-minute core routine. Now, notice I didn't say abs. This isn't going to be a ton of flexing and crunching. We'll do some of that at the very end, but we're going to first start off with a lot of alignment and midsection based work, all right? So what I mean by that is we're trying to get this awareness and strengthening between your rib cage as well as your pelvis. So we're trying to get those 2 points dialed together and lock that in. That's going to help so much with things outside of the gym. So that is in life, in sports, and even within the gym, like deadlifts and squats, where you really need to be able to brace and have a strong core. These are going to have a lot of carryover to those types of activities, all right? So instead of just focusing on your ab muscles, your six-pack muscles, we're going to focus on the entire midsection today, all right? So today's workout is going to be split up between 4 different segments. Segment number 1 is going to be the easiest. Segment number 4 is going to be the most challenging. We're going to work our way up. So it's almost like a ladder. And if at any point during this 4 different segments, if one segment feels too hard, all you need to do is drop down to the move in the previous segment, all right? So we're going to get started with today's 10-minute core workout. And we're going to start off with a little bit of a warm-up by getting down on your back with your knees up, with your feet down, right? The first thing that I want you to do is get your rib cage, arch it up towards the ceiling, arch your lower back up towards the ceiling. And then from there, if they aren't there already, place your hands on your rib cage, all right? So this bony part right here, I want you to try to push that down towards the floor, push your lower back down towards the floor, and breathe out. Inhale, arch up. Exhale. Push everything down. Now your back doesn't have to hit the floor. Most of you probably will. And all this is doing is it's getting pressure away from your lower back when you're in this arched position. And then when you're pressed down, you're getting your rib cage, pelvis connected. You're getting your core and abs a little bit more involved. And you're taking some pressure away from the lower back. All right. Inhale, arch up. And exhale, press back down. All right, so within these segments, these 4 segments, they're gonna be 2 minutes long a piece, and we're gonna work for 30 seconds for each move. There's gonna be a lot of dead bugs, marching, side planks, kind of back to back to back. So you're gonna have to be on your toes, even though you're gonna be on the floor the whole time, but you're gonna be on your toes. So just keep up with me, all right? So I'll try to do my best to explain everything beforehand so that you know what's coming up next. But let's get started, all right? So we're gonna start off on our backs. We're gonna get the workout started in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and begin. All right, so arms up like this, knees and feet up like so. You're gonna slowly march one leg down, bring it back, and then switch sides. So you're lightly tapping one heel down to the ground with your legs bent. All right, so this is called a bent leg marching. And all we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep that rib cage and pelvis connection. So we're trying to keep your lower back and your ribs down for these 30 seconds as you move back and forth. Now we're going to transition into a side plank on your left side. So bend those knees back, get into a side plank, and we're going to hold this position for about 30 seconds, all right? So all I want you to think about is really pushing into the floor with this bottom arm and getting a straight line from the top of your head all the way down to your knees, all right? So get as long as possible. We're going to switch sides in 10 seconds, all right? So hold this position right here. Awesome. And 3, 2, 1, and let's switch it up. All right, I'm gonna switch sides this way just so I can keep an eye on the clock. But again, 30 seconds. Awesome work. So now we're getting some obliques involved. All right, so this is our level 1 foundational movements. The next segment, after a 30-second break, we're gonna make this a little bit more challenging by lengthening the levers. All right, so 10 more seconds. So we'll get into straight leg side planks and straight leg marching. All right, and 3, 2, 1, and relax. Awesome. So the next segment, like I just said, is going to be a little bit more challenging because we're lengthening the levers. If at any point you feel like you need to decrease the levers, just go right back to bent leg marching and a bent knee side plank. All right, we're going to get going on our back in 10 seconds. So knees up, feet up, get your rib cage down, arms up, and then from there, let's reach straight out with that leg now. All right, so all the way out and bring it back. All the way out and bring it back. And again, what are you focusing on? Rib cage down, lower back down. All right. Now by increasing the lever, especially if you have longer legs, this becomes fairly challenging to do. All right, we got 8 more seconds. Straight leg side planks coming up. And 3, 2, 1. All right, and transition. And again, crown of your head to your feet should be an entire straight line. Holding this position, your bottom shoulder isn't just relaxing, but it's really pushing down into the ground. And again, if at any point you need to drop down to a bent knee version, feel free to do that, all right? So always meeting yourself where you're at, especially when it comes to core workouts. All right, 5 seconds, we're gonna switch sides. 3, 2, 1, and switch it up. So you can power through ab and oblique workouts, even with suboptimal form, and you'll get the aesthetic results that you're kind of looking for. But for core workouts, it's all about maintaining optimal alignment. You can't just go through a plank with poor form and expect it to translate to core results. You want to make sure that you're in the optimal alignment, which means always meeting yourself where you're at and modifying things so it meets you where you're at. All right? And time. Good. We're going to rest for 30 seconds. Next up, we have a dead bug where we're actually now moving the arms with the legs in that laying down position. And we're also doing a side plank to a leg raise. All right? We get going in about 15 seconds. Let's get going on our backs. All right. Here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now reach opposite arm and leg down as you switch. Good. 30 seconds here. Now that we're adding the arms into the equation, it's going to be a little bit more complex and a little bit more challenging since now we have 2 levers moving at the same time. All right, 10 more seconds. And again, if at any point you need to drop down to the levels in segment 2 and 1, feel free to do that. Get ready for your side plank and go. So now we're gonna dip and lift and raise. Dip, lift and raise, all right? So instead of holding that side plank position, we're making it be a little bit more dynamic and even adding in a little bit of a leg lift. So now we're getting glutes involved, your hip muscles involved, along with your obliques and your shoulders, all right? But again, if you need to, just drop down to a standard side plank. 3, 2, 1, and switch it up. This side is a little bit more challenging for me, so if any side feels a little bit kind of asymmetrical, don't worry about that. Just keep working it, and it'll start to even out. None of us are actually completely symmetrical, so you don't need to feel like one side is always perfectly matched up with the other. Nothing to be alarmed about. All right, we have 5 seconds left before we wet rest. And time, good. So again, yeah, that side is always a little bit more challenging for me. All right, now I know we've been talking about core and making sure our rib cage is connected with the pelvis. Now we're gonna add a little bit more movement into the system, but first we're gonna start off with the plank, all right? So this segment is gonna be a plank, a Russian twist, and a Frogger sit-up, all right? So a lot more movement involved, but let's first get into a front plank. In 5 seconds. All right, 3, 2, 1, and go. All right, I sound like a broken record, but remember, push into the floor with your shoulders. Rib cage is connected with your pelvis by getting your abs engaged, by getting your core engaged, and your glutes engaged. And we're gonna hold this here for 30 seconds. Awesome work. We got 10 seconds, and we're gonna transition onto our butts and go into a Russian twist. All right, 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and transition. All right, so right here, feet are up in the air, and we're gonna transition from side to side like so. All right, so notice I'm turning my shoulders as I go. Keep it going, 15 more seconds. Your abs should be engaged, as well as your obliques. Whew. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and lay down. Knees are out wide, feet are together. First, you're gonna crunch by reaching up towards the ceiling And then, if you feel comfortable, coming all the way up into a sit-up. Knees out wide in this frog or sit-up. All that's doing is it's taking the hip flexors out of the equation, placing more emphasis on the abs. 10 more seconds. Come on, power through. 5 seconds. 2, 1, and awesome job. All right. High fives. That was the end of the circuit there. Let's get into a couple cobra poses to loosen up the abs, and we'll chat for a second, and then you'll be on your way. All right, so get prone right here. You're gonna press yourself up nice and tall, relax the abs, relax your body a little bit, and come on back down. And we're gonna repeat this process as I chat for a little bit here. Now, we went through 4 different segments, and like I said, we kind of laddered up the intensity as we went through circuit, right? And so you can repeat this workout any number of times and just stick with the circuit that met you where you're at. So if circuit 3 was too challenging, let's say, you can repeat this workout and just do circuit number 2, all right? So we just wanted to make it as accessible as possible for all different levels. And what you'll really notice is that we first started off with a lot of, you can keep going or you can relax. We started off with a lot of movements that kept you in this neutral position. And then segment number 4, we then finally went to sit-ups, we went to Russian twists, and we went to planks. This is where people start to feel their lower backs because they always start with these segment 4 exercises where they're planking, they're twisting, they're crunching and sitting up. These are actually advanced, all right? So what you want to think about is if these are affecting my back position, if they're affecting my posture, or if they're just too strenuous, just dial it back to segment number 3, 2, or 1. So always meeting yourself where you're at. And that's what core training is all about. Less about just specifically working the abs, but working the entire midsection and making sure that that actually carries over to life activities, sports, to lifting, to all of that. All right, so hopefully this all made sense. Hopefully this was almost like a learning by doing kind of scenario and almost like a little mini workshop. But thanks for joining me. Again, you can feel free to do this workout as many times as you need and just choose a segment that makes the most sense for you. All right, until next time, sweat out, happiness in.